Hello there. My name is Paulie, and I am here to explain one concept to you, and that would be the ADU new development phase that is going on in New York City. So the first question is, what is an ADU? Okay, let's do that. An ADU can also be known as an accessory dwelling unit, an additional dwelling unit. I'm sure that you've come across these terms before. But in New York City, it's being referred to as an ancillary dwelling unit. So, having said that, this is a model of what they would consider an ADU in a general point of view. And here is the standard definition of what is an ADU. So, an ADU, by definition, is a secondary self-contained residential unit located on the same lot as the primary home. Further, ADUs must include their own kitchen, bathroom, sleeping area to function independently from the same house, okay, from the main house. The standard ADU is up to about 800 square feet. 300 square feet is the minimum that I think anybody in New York City is going to be able to build. New York City will frown on anything under 300 square feet, although you can do 200 square feet. Um, Here on this sheet, there's some examples of types of ADUs. You have the detached, attached, internal, junior ADU. Um, that's not really what we're getting into right now. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the types. I'll go through the presentation and I'll get you started on exactly what we're talking about here. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so continuing. Let's go over the question since we know what an ADU is. Who, where, and when is this going to happen? So it's now open for applications. Okay. The who is DOB now, which is New York City Department of Buildings. They have been the ones that have opened this up. And this is an example of where they're doing it all over, what they want to be done. And then September 30th, 2025, they started taking applications for the ADU program. And here's the service notice that points out that now ancillary dwelling units can be filed on DOB now. So that's what we're here for right now. We want to know about what's this new concept, correct? Okay, so let's continue. Okay, so up to now, I have explained to you who, what, where, and when. Okay, so the question here now is why. Okay, what was the purpose of all of this? Correct. So this comes in with the idea of the city of yes by New York City to increase housing all over the five boroughs. Okay, and having said that, they came up with all of these ideas, and the ADUs are one of them. Okay, so here it is, ADUs in the concept of the city of yes. All right, so these were the eligibility requirements. As I mentioned, up to 800 square feet, and owner occupancy is going to be a big factor. You have to be on the residence, uh, and this is the plan. Okay, so they feel like by 2040, there's going to be a complete change here. All right, of everything. So that's the way it's coming down now. Let's move on. So here I am down here, and now we're going to answer the question that everybody wants to know: who, what, why, where, whatever, how. How much is this going to cost? Correct? Okay. So here is the cost to build an ADU in New York City. Estimates. Okay. Nobody's putting this in literally writing. But this is what they are estimating the cost would be, depending on what you do. And of course, there's other costs that you have to consider, which we're going to get into, and that's why we're here on this presentation to explain to you what we do. So, design, architecture, permitting, utility connections, site preparation, these types of things are imperative to the beginning stages before you start doing anything. Okay, and in some cases, foundation has to be poured. So here's some financing options for the ADU program. Um, other things that you can do to get to finance this type of project. And in the next slide, I will be explaining to you the grant that they're offering. I don't know exactly how many grants they're giving out. I wouldn't count on them, but I will definitely do the inquiries for you. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so as I said on the previous slide, the financing options that you have, basically those are your out-of-pocket options, and they are coming up with some kind of grant for some homeowners if they're eligible to apply for the ADU plus one program. So here is the flyer regarding that, and they are saying that if you earn a certain amount of income, less than a certain amount of income, you can be eligible, and you can get a grant of $125,000. Um, this is the FAQs for that, okay, in PDF form, and this is the checklist of stuff they want. Okay, so it's a lot, and if we can get it, we'll try it. If we can't, that's not something that we count on in what we're doing here. But I want to, as a professional, make you aware of it. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so now that we've got past the how much and some of the other questions, let's talk about the types of ADUs. And there's one in particular I want to focus on. But so we have backyard cottages, basement cellar apartments, attached conversions, home additions. Okay, and here are some examples of all of them. All right, and there is a prefab or a modular. I think you'll call that prefab. They're just bringing that. That's just as much an ADU as the ones that you make. So, having said all of this, we are going to concentrate on the basement ADU in the next slide. I want to get some things very clear about what's going on in New York with that. Okay, New York City is not favorable to having this conversion done yet, or converting basements into living area. They are making it a little difficult, and I want to explain that in the next slide. Okay, so as I said on the other slide, okay, that there are some concerns about having basement converted into living area. Okay, there's a couple of egress windows for you, and this is the concept that they're talking about here, which is primary unit upstairs and the accessory unit below grade or below level. So local law 126 of 2024 was enforced because of a parking lot that collapsed in New York City. And they came out with a whole bunch of stuff to never have that happen again. In doing that, they also addressed the basement conversions. So as far as ADUs were concerned, they approved it conditionally. Okay, hear my words, conditionally. They approved it. But as you can see here, they have some requirements. Okay, and here, they have a 10-year plan. Okay, where you have to do certain things over 10 years, put sprinklers and egress has to be there, and whatever it is, over 10 years, the place has to be completely conforming. Now, I want to make one thing very clear here. There is a difference between basements and cellars. Okay, basements are considered half above grade, and cellars are considered below grade, half of the distance of the whole cellar being below grade. The categorization of a basement would be as a story. Okay, so if you have a 5-story building, that would be counted as a story, but a cellar is not counted as a story. So these are two different things in the legalization of these basements, where if you're really below grade and you're doing a cellar, they have their concerns. So, and what comes into play? There you go, the fire code, and there is the local law right there. If anybody wants it, it's available online. Okay, so as far as basements are concerned, there are some concerns, and I just want that to be pointed out. That doesn't mean we can't do them, but from what I understand, what they did was they pointed out some districts where they can be done, where there's no flooding or rainfall issues, and they've had that, they've given that kind of, you could say, conditional permission. I wouldn't get into it right now, but eventually it is going to happen. Okay, so now that we have all the information about ADUs, what they are, and all the other questions that I've answered for you, let's talk about what does this mean for making money for New York City real estate agents. Well, the statistics show that California is skyrocketing, and 23 to 24,000 permits have been issued for ADUs. Having said that, it seems that every single house that has an ADU has value, or has increased the value of their house by doing an ADU. And there is a chart that just shows that. Okay, so there's not much to discuss here as far as, whether there's a value to making something that's income producing on your property. And the way things are in New York City now, I don't think anybody's going to argue about appraisal value. So, in my opinion, whoever has the opportunity to do an ADU, especially in areas where the lots are a little bit bigger, maybe Queens, some parts of Brooklyn, they should jump on this. Okay, this is my opinion. This is for the agents to solicit their customers and say, look, here's the statistics, man. And you're going to get a place. It's not even just about renting. It's also about family, and no verbos, no long-term rentals, no, Airbnbs here. We're talking about straight out housing. Okay, so this is something related to real estate and agents, and getting listings for rental for the house. The house goes up in value. This is my sincere opinion as far as this topic is concerned. Okay, so at the end of the day, what are we talking about here? What is it that I am here to explain to you? Well, it's like this: expediting New York City, and we made a website, www.newyorkcity-adu.com. Okay, that's us. And when I say us, that's our specialized ADU design and filing services, which we completely streamline the permit, and everything is done from A to Z. And let me explain that. All right. So here we have what is an RDP and how does it work in the ADU program. So basically, what happens here is that we have a registered architect, and that architect has the ability to sign off any of our jobs all the way through the ADU as a pro cert without a plan review, meaning you don't get the building department there at all. Our architect is certified to do this under Directive 14, and I will show you that. So basically, uh, whatever we do internally, and we get your in our fees. We are going to include the survey, and we're going to include uh, the architect, and as many revisions as required, and the pro cert. So he's going to be drawing all the plans, and I'm included in that as well. And I will be doing all the filing because I have to go everywhere and get everything from everybody. So this is all inclusive in what we do. And as far as what I was explaining to you, this is my card, and I do Long Island at the moment, but we're doing these New York City ADUs, so that's where I opened that up. And there is the Directive 14 of 1975, which just says as long as you're not changing egress or certain things, it's the RDPs can sign it off. They don't need to bother the building department for every single thing. Now, just remember here, I want to just make this very clear that contractors and town fees are not included in our fees. Okay, we take care of all the design, we take care of all the permits, we make sure all the work permits are done, and that's it. Okay, as far as that's concerned. But things will come from all over, as far as fees from the plumbing and fees from the electrical and their fees and running the sewer in. These things that the homeowner has to factor in, and that's why I gave you the whole thing about what it costs to, do an ADU. But ours is the beginning stages, and we are here to get this thing going for New York City because their idea is to increase housing, and that's why I took a very, very keen interest towards this. So I'll wrap it up on the next screen. I'm not gonna show my face anymore. I'm gonna I'm gonna call it here and and say, look, I hope everybody understood everything I explained here. And on the last slide, I will just dictate it with just audio and no video. Okay. So thank you for letting me do this, and I hope I get some calls from you. Just give me a call at that number that's right there on that screen. 516-983-4000. So here is my information on this page. If anybody wants to give me a call, email me, anything, everything is right here. And here is a copy of our pro forma scope of work contract. It's just a sample, but if you want to, you can download it. It's a PDF, it should be downloadable. And that's it. Basically, give us a call if you have an area like a garage that you want to convert. We are really looking for detached garages, and that's going to be my concentration for now. I'd rather stay away from the main house, but depends on the jobs. So thank you again for all the attention on this presentation, and I hope I see you guys soon.